Hi, everybody. I'm Nick.
I'm Dave.
And we're in Death Cab For Cutie.
And you're watching Records in My Life.
Digging for coal in my neighborhood, where all the old buildings stood. They keep digging it down and down, so let the coals live on.
Guys, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Glad to be here.
Tell us about the brand new record.
It is called the Blue EP. It has 5 tracks on it, and I'm extremely proud of it. I mean, I don't really know what else to say other than I can't wait for people to hear it. There's been a couple songs out in the world already that people have been able to listen to, and I think those kind of set the tone for the whole thing. So I think if you're into what you've heard so far, I think you're going to be very satisfied with the full thing.
Do you have a favorite song on the record?
Blue Bloods. Final song on the record.
Any collaborators or outside producers you worked with on this one?
Yes, multiple. 2 of the songs were recorded with Rich Costi, who during the sessions for Thank You For Today for the album. Two of the songs were recorded with Peter Katis in his studio on the East Coast in Connecticut, and one of the songs was recorded by ourselves.
Zach Ray had a studio until it burned down about 2 years ago, tragically.
Yep.
Everyone was okay, but his
Yep.
gear was not.
Yep.
But we did it there.
Yep.
But we're excited about everything, but it was very fun to work with Peter a few months ago.
Yes.
Just a totally new face for us, a new approach, and the results are pretty exciting, we think.
Yep.
Peter Katis has worked on with a load of artists.
Yes.
Can you give us a couple of albums?
With Stars, with the National.
First 2 Interpol records.
Yeah.
Like I was playing through the same guitar chain that Daniel Kessler was playing through on the first Interpol record. I played the piano that's on Fake Empire by the National on
wow.
one of the songs.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
He's got a really great resume.
So, Records in My Life is a show about albums that you, the artist, loved, enjoy, and are inspired by.
Yeah.
So, give me an album which inspired you to pick up your respective instruments.
You know, an album that actually got me excited about playing music in general happened very, very young. It was a single first. I heard Shout by Tears for Fears. And then songs from the big chair after that. But that song and that record was the first time I remember hearing music and thinking, I want to be able to do that. That would be really fun to know how to be able to play, not just like, Christmas like songs on the piano or goofy thing like Happy Birthday and stuff like that. That was like the first time I remember having this moment where I was like, I could play music that I also like. So that was a very formative early record as far as me just kind of realizing that music was something that suddenly you could actually learn how to play and have fun. So I would give that record credit at that point in my life. What about you, Dave? What are your records? What was a record that made you want to play music? Or
well, in terms of being a guitar player, 2 records spring to mind immediately, which are Nirvana's Nevermind and Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here, which kind of come at guitar from 2 very different directions, but for a budding 12, 13-year-old guitarist, they were 2 excellent sort of templates to follow. One sort of from the heart, punk rock style, and one sort of embracing the more technical side of guitar playing. And in terms of a record that just sort of flipped my entire relationship with music, I would say Remain in Light by the Talking Heads.
oh man, good choices.
It was just a record that when I heard it, I was pretty young, like 9 or 10, and I'd been raised on the Beatles and Beach Boys and Bob Dylan. But this record just sounded like from Mars. Nothing on it was anything I'd ever heard before. No instruments were identifiable to me as instruments I was familiar with. It was just a totally different approach to music than I had experienced heretofore.
Is there an album you would like to have witnessed being recorded?
I would love to have seen David Bowie record Heroes in Berlin with Brian Eno and Robert Fripp. What the hell were those guys doing? That's a crazy sounding record.
Yeah.
What about that album? Why that record in particular?
It's just nothing, kind of like what I said about the Talking Heads record, just nothing sounds the way it should sound. The drums sound insane. The vocals are put through effects no one had used on vocals before. The guitars sound like keyboards, and yet it all works, and it's catchy, and the songs evoke emotional responses, and I don't know. It's alchemy what they were doing in there. crazy.
That's a great album. That's a great choice. I mean, it's a great answer too. I would choose Nirvana's Nevermind because I would like to see what it would be like to be in the studio with a band while they were making a record that would change the world before they even knew it or had any idea, and what that energy was like, what it was like to just be like, yeah, here's this song, it's called Smells Like Teen Spirit, just like, oh yeah, it sounds pretty good, yeah, drums sound great, yeah, everything's really good, yeah, it's a good song, guys, let's go on to the next one.
Totally.
Yeah, and then like suddenly this thing comes out and like decimates an entire genre of music. I mean, like it changed everything at that point. Like that changed the world as far as what the appetites and popularity of. Anyway, so it would have been kind of exciting to see that go down before it was a thing, before they were self-aware on that level.
What record would you like to hear live, if you could, in its entirety?
Like that's possible. Like all the members are alive, and
Well, no, they could be. Actually, no, fair enough. They could be.
I would hear Remain in Light if we could get Talking Heads back together. That would be an amazing reunion / play this whole album. I'm trying to think of stuff that's possible as well as would be exciting.
Like in terms of possible, I guess hearing Television do Marquee Moon live would be pretty rad. They're all alive.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be really cool.
But when you bring in the impossible, then
then the sky's the limit, right? Yeah. Then you're into.
I want to hear the Beatles figure out how to play Sgt. Pepper live and then do it.
Yes.
Musician alive, who'd you like to have a cup of coffee with?
Musician alive I could have a cup of coffee with.
I'll let you think. I'm gonna give my very boring answer, which is Paul McCartney. He's still alive, but I mean, I would love to sit him down and say, no, I don't want to hear that story you tell in every interview. I don't want to hear that other story. I don't want to hear about you and John in Hamburg. Like, give me the real stuff. Give me the crazy stoned recording Ram in 1971 stuff. Give me the drug bust in Japan. Tell me about your favorite synthesizer. Like all these things that no one ever asks Paul McCartney and he never brings up. I just want to hear that stuff.
Yeah, I would probably just say Robert Smith from The Cure, and we'd have a silent meal, and that would be it. But yeah, I mean, I would actually want to sit a table away from Dave's conversation and eavesdrop on Dave's.
I'd love to
Dave's.
see you with Robert Smith. Yeah. So, how are you enjoying the crudité?
It's crunchy. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like tailor-made this last question from you because you're based out of Pacific Northwest.
Uh-huh.
So it was Nevermind or In Utero, the better record.
Ooh.
I think we're about to brawl.
We are about to brawl because we actually have had this conversation internally in the band. I would say for me, it's Nevermind. But I know that sort of immediately, cuts me off at the knees for being able to appreciate art. Let's just, what people say quickly.
It's okay, you're basic, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. See, here we go. Yeah. However, pound for pound, I think the songs, it's just it's two different things. It's like, Nevermind to me is the band at its like most unaware, and In Utero is like what they make a record when they know the world is watching them, and they succeed in different ways for different reasons, but under those different pressures or lack thereof. So I just happen to sort of connect with that unbridled, like, yeah, we're just going to make a record. Damn the torpedoes, it's Nevermind. And it kind of feels a little more raw to me and not as like plotted or intentional in some ways. Maybe that's wrong, but that's just how I've always interpreted it. So I pick Nevermind. However, Dave?
I pick In Utero.
Yes.
I love Nevermind. Do not get me wrong. But it's funny that you mentioned the rawness of Nevermind because I feel like Nevermind's, one of the hurdles I have with Nevermind is the sort of gigantic production that Butch Vig brought to it. And it sounds great. It sounds massive, but it also doesn't sound quite true to me, like the layers of chorused guitars and the giant drums, and something about the kind of scrappy avant-garde Albini approach to In Utero speaks to me a little bit more. And it just sounds very fearless. I love the fact that they knew the world was paying attention to them, and they chose to kind of burn it all down and make this bizarre, artsy record.
Can't argue with it. They're really, like, that is such powerful back-to-back records. It's kind of, The Wall or Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, like, how do you pick out? I don't know.
Dark Side of the Moon, but
I don't know. Yeah, again, you get into
We're lucky to live in a world with that has both records.
That's right.
in existence because they're both
diplomatic. I like it.
Yeah.
And one final question: some
Yep.
words of wisdom for our audience, please, if you may.
take long social media breaks.
Drink plenty of water.
There you have it.
Yes, that's a great song.
Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe.
And if you're really feeling it, please hit us up on Patreon. Cheers.